Thank you for coming today. I'm attorney Gloria Allred. To my right is Amber Frey. I'll be making a brief statement, then Ms. Frey will be making a brief statement. Ms. Frey will not be taking any questions. I will take a few questions. In the last week, there have been various reports in the press that Amber Frey has asked me to represent her. Today, I'm able to confirm that I will act as her attorney. Amber has been described as a potential key witness in the case of People versus Scott Peterson, where Mr. Peterson is charged with the murders of Lacey, Rocha Peterson, and Connor. In addition to being a witness, Amber is also a victim of Scott's deception. Victims are entitled to attorneys, as are witnesses. My role as Amber's attorney will be to advise her of her rights and to represent her as a witness in the criminal case. I anticipate attacks on her by the defense, and I will respond to those attacks. I would hope that press reports about her would be accurate, but if they are not, I will correct the record to protect Amber's reputation. This has been a difficult time for her. The numerous daily attempts by press to contact her have often disrupted her life. For that reason, she would appreciate it if any inquiries from the press in the future be directed to me and not to her. Amber would like to make clear that she does not intend to do any interviews prior to trial. She has been offered money for interviews, and she has refused and will continue to refuse those offers. We are committed to protecting the integrity of the prosecution, and we will not allow her testimony to be contaminated by offers of money for her story. Her only interest is in doing her duty as a citizen by cooperating with the authorities and providing truthful information that might be relevant to the case. I believe that Amber was very brave when she made the decision to contact law enforcement with information that she had regarding Scott Peterson. She wanted to do the right thing, and she did so, even though it meant that certain private facts would become public knowledge. I commend her for her decision, and we both ask that if anyone else has relevant information which might help in the investigation of these murders, that they will also contact law enforcement, as Amber did. Amber has faith in the criminal justice system, and she hopes and prays that whomever is guilty of the murders of Lacey and Connor will be held accountable in a court of law. And now I'd like to present Ms. Frey.
I want to express my sympathy to Lacey's family. My heart goes out to them for the loss of their daughter and their grandson. I am grateful that Gloria Allred has agreed to represent me as my attorney. And this has been a painful and stressful time for me. And I really appreciate her support. I expect that I will be asked to testify in this case, and I am prepared to do so. I don't think it's appropriate to talk about what might be contained in my testimony prior to me being called to the witness stand. Until that time, I just want to lead a normal life and regain my privacy. I hope that everyone will understand and respect my wishes. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms.
You have
Allred,
to
do you
take-
believe that Amber Frey's testimony will be before the prosecution be discussed as her testimony or potential testimony with her advocates?
There have been news reports that the district attorney considers her to be a key witness in the prosecution. It will be for the district attorney to make the decision as to which role she will play in the prosecution
And
of
have
the
you
case.
discussed her potential testimony with her at this point? What she knows, you know what she knows.
Oh, I never discuss what I discuss with clients. But I will say that it's my opinion that what she has to say in testimony will be very important to the case.
Gloria, what's so commendable here is because we've seen this in other high-profile cases, is witnesses willing to sell their testimony to tabloids to make a buck. And you and I both know how damaging that can be for, let's say, the prosecution down the road. So can you walk viewers and people and explain to them why it's so so extraordinary that she is refusing this money because clearly she's being offered this money, but she's taking the high road. Can you walk us through that?
What is key to Amber's decision is the integrity of the prosecution. She wants to be sure that the criminal justice system works in the way that it's intended to work. And it can affect a witness's testimony if a witness has received payment for that testimony. We've seen that in many other cases. It does tend to go to their credibility. She will do nothing whatsoever to undermine her credibility as a witness. She will not do any interviews, whether they are paid or unpaid, prior to her testimony in this case. She has respect for the criminal justice system, and she knows how important that is.
Can you explain why you need an attorney and what your role would be?
Victims and witnesses are entitled to attorneys. They are entitled to advice in the criminal justice system. There are many issues that arise in high-profile cases where sometimes unscrupulous people tend to try to exploit witnesses for their own purposes. That is not going to happen in this case. She is going to be protected. We are going to see that truth prevails, and we are not going to allow people to take advantage of her in a way that they would like to. She will be protected as a witness for the criminal justice system.
What sort of attacks do you expect from the defense?
There's been speculation that Scott may try to raise reasonable doubt by pointing the finger at Amber.
Your statement, I anticipate attacks on her by the defense. If you could talk to the nature of what you anticipate.
I'm just saying it would not be a surprise to me, as somebody who's been practicing law for 27 years, if the defense would attempt to attack the credibility of all witnesses, particularly witnesses that would be very important to the prosecution. I don't know what they have up their sleeve, but whatever it is, I can tell you that we will be ready to vigorously defend Ms. Frey, in whom we have a great deal of confidence and for whom we have a great deal of respect.
Gloria, can you reiterate the nature and extent of her relationship with Scott Peterson?
I'd rather not at this time. I think we all know that she had a relationship with Scott Peterson. We know that she was not aware that he was married.
Gloria,
And she has said on a previous occasion that he told her that he was not married. So she is an innocent victim in all of this.
Can you
Gloria,
address
this is pretty early, isn't it, for her to be getting an attorney?
Absolutely not,
No?
Linda. I don't think so. I think this is the right time for her. We don't know, first, if there will be a preliminary hearing or a grand jury, but if there is a preliminary hearing, then of course that will be a public matter that might be held in a few months. We don't know when that will be held. But this is definitely the key time for her to have someone to become involved and to represent her and to advise her and to protect her in such a high-profile case in which people are calling from all over the world and, you know, attempting to follow her, harass her, contact her. This is going to have to come to an end so she can have her life and still focus on doing her duty as a citizen, which she intends to do.
You say how
What
much,
is she doing for a living right now?
Okay, we're not commenting on her
Her job?
job.
can you say?
She
who's
is employed.
Can you say whose offer paper interviews and how much?
No, I'm sorry.
The National Enquirer has already published pictures of Amber and Scott together. Do you anticipate any action on those? I know those were things that friends had, because at the time, they thought that Scott was Amber's boyfriend legitimately.
We will be advising of her, we will be advising her of all of her legal rights in reference to anyone who decides to publish stories, photographs, or anything else about Amber, if the information is not true, if the property that they use does not belong to someone else but belongs to Amber, and they have not received her consent, and of course she's not going to be giving her consent, then we will advise her of all of her legal options, and then she can decide which, if any, options she chooses to exercise, and at which time she chooses to exercise those options, if she so chooses.
Has the defense tried to contact her at all, do you know? From Peterson reports?
If the defense does try to contact her in the future, I would hope that they would contact me.
Have they in the past?
I just wouldn't have any comment on whether they have in the past.
You've said that you will fight any inaccuracies in reporting. Have you determined that to be the case so far? Have there been a lot of inaccuracies about Amber?
I think there are some statements out there about her that are not true, and I'm not going to go into which ones they are, but I think there are some. We're going to be reviewing everything, because it takes a whole lifetime to build a reputation. It only takes a few moments to destroy one. And we think she's an outstanding young woman, and we intend to protect her reputation.
Has her reputation been damaged in any way so far?
Well, we want it to be truthful information that is out there, and so we'll do an assessment and see what we think.
Does she feel her reputation has been damaged?
What she is most concerned about at this point, Paul, is cooperating with the criminal justice system and focusing on that, and
Helping with the prosecution?
protecting the integrity of the prosecution.
Did the police department at any point treat her as a suspect?
Not to my knowledge. And I think it will be clear once she testifies, that it will be clear 1,000 times over that she has been an innocent victim.
How much can she help the prosecution? I'm coming back to that. Is her testimony, if you know, pivotal in this case? Does she have something that will really turn this case for the prosecution?
I haven't had an opportunity to talk to the district attorney's office yet, because I'm just announcing today that I will be representing her. I certainly intend to be in contact with the police and with the district attorney's office. And we will have discussions if they so choose to have discussions. But there is no way that she is anything but a witness.
Gloria, you touched on this.
How did you get in touch with each other?
She contacted me.
You touched on this already, but if you could just flesh this out for us, the manner and the way that this has essentially changed Amber's life. Can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Well, it's very difficult for a person who is a private figure suddenly to be thrust into a spotlight, into the international spotlight. Amber is a person of strong faith. She has strong family values and ties, and she doesn't wish to be a public figure.
Did she have to leave her
And
job?
we're only doing this today so that everyone knows it will be pointless to continue to try to contact her. In fact, for those who do try to contact her, you know, they will not be making me very happy, because they should not be contacting her.
Did she have to leave her job? Did she have to leave her residence? Did she have to do?
There are various changes that she's had to make, and we'd like her to be able to go back to life as normal. We'll take one more question.
Amber has expressed great sympathy toward Lisa's family. Has she contacted or talked to them directly?
We're not going to be able to discuss who she has spoken with, but she does have enormous sympathy for Sharon Rocha, for Brent Rocha, for Dennis Rocha, for Ron Grancy, for Amy, for everyone in the Rocha family. They have suffered an immeasurable loss, and her heart goes out to them. And I can say that she has expressed that on a number of occasions, and every time she thinks of them, she can barely hold back the tears because she is really very upset about their loss. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Connie,